Welcome all. In this video we are going to learn or we are going to continue with looping structure. Looping structure, the topic already we have started from some of the previous videos. Previously we came to know about the definition of loop, and we came to know there are three types of loop structure mostly, that is for loop, while loop and do while loop. For loop we have already completed. During learning of for loop, we came to know about the definition of for loop, syntax of for loop, and the explanation of for loop, as well as we learn some of the programs based on for looping structure. As for looping structure was easiest looping structure, so it was easy to learn as well as easy to understand. But today we are going to learn while looping structure. So we will see the syntax, definition as well as some example based on while looping structure. So let's go for while looping structure. This is the definition. Let's discuss the definition at first. In while loop, condition is evaluated first, and if it returns true, then the statements inside the while loop execute. Let's understand first this line. In for loop, the entire content, the entire initialization, condition and increment we used to write in one line. But in while loop, we have to write them little differently. So at first, what the while loop is doing, let's check the syntax. In syntax, it's written while condition. It means if the condition is true, it means if the condition will evaluate to true, then it enters to the body of the while loop. This is the body I specified within curly bracket, opening curly bracket and closing curly bracket. So whatever I mention inside is the body of the while loop. So if it is false, never it will enter inside the loop. Fine. So that is what written in the first line, the definition of the while loop, that the condition is evaluated first. The condition will evaluated first. And if it return true, it means if the condition become true, it's satisfied, then the statement inside the loop, while loop, will execute. Statements inside kept will get executed. This happens repeatedly. Why repeatedly? Because of it is loop. That's why repeatedly it happens. It used to keep continue with the task. It will keep continue with executing the statements until the condition become false. Whatever condition we specified, it will get false na? After completion of the loop. There will be a definite condition, there will be a condition. After it reach to that condition, after it get matched with the condition, it will get stopped. So in that, when it gets stopped, when it's supposed to get stopped, that time it will return what? False. Until unless it is continuing the job, or until unless the job is not get done, not get over, it will return what? True. And the moment the job get over, it will return what? False. Fine, students. So now let's continue. When condition returns false, the control come out of the loop. When it become false, when this condition become false, it will come out of the loop. Come out of the loop means this is the loop. This is the area or the body of the loop. It will come outside the loop, means this part it will come. It will come simply outside the loop. Fine. So then it jumps to the next statement in program after while loop. Then it will do some other work, whatever, if it is written in your program. So it means what we came to know, let me say you in brief. The while loop, at first it checks the condition. If the condition is true, or until unless the condition is becoming true, it will be inside the loop. It will do the job. After completion of once the job, it goes here, check whether the condition is true or not. If it is true, again it will do the job. Again go here, if it is true, again it will continue the job. The moment it becomes false, it won't go inside the loop, it will come outside the loop. Fine. Let's see another paragraph what it is written. The important point to note here is what? Now when using while loop, the initialization statement has to be kept before we start the loop. Before we start the loop. It means this is what the while loop. Before here in the beginning, in the top of the while loop, we have to write the initialization. That is the variable declaration as well as value can be assigned. This initialization step in for loop we used to write in same line. Check here, initialization and this is condition. We are writing in same line. That is why I told you that for loop is easy. Initialization and condition, you see, it has to be written in one line in case of for loop. But in while loop, in 3 different places we have to write, and we have to write them properly in their proper place. So here at first we have to initialize. So initialization to be kept before we start the loop, and increment and decrement has to be kept inside the while loop. You check increment, that is iteration. Iteration means what? Changes, modifications. So loop can continue ahead either or decrement way or backward. So if it is going ahead, it is plus plus as we did in for loop. If it goes down, it will be decrement, that is minus minus. Simple thing, simple concept. Okay, so that is what the loop variable gets changed for each iteration. For each iteration, for each movement, this increment has to be or decrement has to be mentioned within the loop. So let me say it in brief. Initialization, the beginning of the loop, while the condition of the loop, then statement, whatever you want to do, cout, sum, product, whatever you want to do, you need to specify here. Okay, thereafter it is very much mandatory that either the loop is increasing or decreasing, that has to be specified. Okay, now let's understand there are 3 points given. The initialization step is executed first, only once. Initialization only once will execute. In case of for also same was happening. It was executing only once. Means a equal to 1 or n equal to 1 or n equal to 15. During the program execution, how many times n will become 15? Only once, only in the beginning. Thereafter it will keep increasing or keep decreasing. It depends on the program's requirement. N plus plus, then it will increase, n minus minus, then it will decrease. Next, let's see. This step allows us to declare and initialize any loop variable. Loop control variable means what? Loop control variables. In this program, in for, which is loop control variable? N is the loop control variable because the loop is continuing, running because of this n. N is counting that from where to start, where to end, and how it is continuing, how the loop will continue. So that is loop control variable. The same way, while also will have a loop control variable. So that for that only the definition here it is given. Next, second part what? Now the while condition is evaluated and repeatedly execute the statements given within the loop as long as a given condition is true. Until unless, I told you before in this video only, until unless this condition is true, it will keep executing the statement what you wrote here. It might be one statement, it might be more than one statement. Fine. Next, during executing the loop also, it increments and decrements the loop control variable. That is plus plus or minus minus we are bound to do during running of this loop. If you don't do, it will become a indefinite loop. If you specify plus plus or minus minus, it will have an end. It means it will be a definite loop. Okay, now we will concentrate on example, simple example. So more nicely you will understand after watching the example. Now let's check the example. The example is saying that we have to print our name 10 times. In case of for loop also the same example we had seen, and we did the program here. We started the variable int n, that is declaration of the variable. Then we initialize here n equal to 1. N will continue till 10 as it is asking to print 10 times. Then we did here n plus plus, that is incrementing because 1 to 10. Then we wrote here cout your name, because our name only we have to print 10 times. This was the for looping structure. Let's check in while how it is getting possible, or what are the differences we found in while. Once you understood the for loop, while loop easily you can understand. Very less explanation is required for while. Okay, so let's start. Here what we have to write, as the syntax is saying initialization for while loop has to be done at first. So we did here int n equal to 1. Int n only we used to write in for loop, but in this case we have to make the initialization also. Writing int n is declaration of variable, but writing int n equal to 1 is nothing but declaration and initialization in same line. Clear? Thereafter we have to make the condition. This condition how you will make? You have to write this middle part of for loop simply here in while. That is, while it is case sensitive small letter, while also is small letter, n less than 10. N less than 10 means until unless n is lesser than 10 or equal to 10, it will keep continuing the job, it will keep proceeding with the job. Then what is it has to do? Cout Rashmi Ranjan Das or cout your name and L for bringing the statement to the next line. Simply this line also we copied from the here itself. So nothing, no need of required any explanation, I think so. Then students, what? Now n plus plus. N plus plus means it will increase the value of n, which is very much mandatory. If you forget to give this line, the loop will become what? I told, indefinite. Never it will have an end. So we have to make sure that our loop is going to end after 10 or after 50 or after whatever. So that's why it is written n equal to n plus plus, whose meaning is what? Now n equal to n plus 1. We can write this n equal to n plus 1, or in short we can write n plus plus also. Okay, clear? So this is all about the while looping structure. Now let me show you on editor the same program, then more nicely, more better you can understand. So let's go to the online C++ editor. This is the editor which link already I sent you before. Now the cout, this statement we have to remove. See student, let me say you one more thing here. When you open this editor, it might open like this. This is an online editor whose link is given here. So when you open this editor, it will open like this. So you need to, if you are practicing in mobile, the size of the screen will be very much small, short. So you have to remove this by clicking on this arrow as well as this also, so that you will get more space to practice. Now let's start with the program. So we have to declare a variable as well as we have to initialize n equal to 1. Fine. Then while n will continue till what? N less than equal to 10. Clear? Then we have to provide a bracket, curly bracket. For also had a curly bracket, while also had a curly bracket. That curly bracket denotes, specifies the body of the loop, for loop or while loop. So in this case we have to give cout. I can specify my name in the inside the double quote. Inside the double quote we can specify capital also. That won't be taken care by the C++ compiler. But outside the double quote, everything has to be written in small letter, as no capitalization is allowed during practical. Don't do that mistake. Okay, now let's do n plus plus. Okay, our program is complete. Now let's compile and check. So simply you press on the run button to compile, and let's check for the answer. Now as the program is compiling here, all of you can watch. Let's see after compiling. Compiling is nothing but translating from high level language to low level language or machine understandable language. So it is compiling our code to its own understandable language. So let's check the answer thereafter. So let it get compiled as we are using online editor. So it is taking little time to compile the program. So check the students the output, it's printing Rashmi Ranjan Das 10 times here. Okay, so this is how the while loop can be implemented in C++. Once you understand the concept in C++, later on learning Java and other programming language like C, it won't make you trouble because the concepts, the structure is totally same, syntax also is totally same. Okay,